Hello everyone, and welcome back to Kentucky Garden Gal. I am Nancy, and in this week's video we are going to be learning how to have more flowers. Isn't that something that as gardeners we always want, is more flowers? And it's actually going to be a 3-part video. I am going to show you some plants that I have propagated in water, and I want to take a cutting and show you exactly how to do an impatient. And then the second part, we want to collect some seeds that we already have on our plants. I want to show you how to collect those, exactly what the seed is, where it's located, how to find it, how to store it. And then the third part is 9 plants, or it's flowers and vegetables that we can plant right now, and we can still have color and fruit from for this year. So our first frost date in South Central Kentucky is generally October the 15th. So everything needs to have flowered. The seeds that you're going to collect, those need to be collected before the first hard frost falls on them. So I will go over, like I said, 9 flowers and vegetable plants that we can have, that we can still enjoy, and just extend our growing season a little bit longer. So let's get started with these plants. And I actually have 3 different kind of plants. These have been sitting in my windowsill, and some of them, this is a begonia that simply fell off. It broke off when I was doing something with it. And as you can see, I rooted it. Looks like there's 3 pieces here. That one is not a great one. I'll plant that and see what happens. But look at the roots on these. This is a plant that has good roots on it. I know for certain this is viable. This one, it may take a little longer. This one a little bit longer. There's the root right there hanging down. But I'm still going to plant it because it's a free plant. I have plenty of compost and soil, and this is a good activity to do in the heat of July. Find a nice shady place, get you a glass of tea, and just pot up some flowers. So this is a plant. This is an indoor plant. It's a vine. My mother always had these, and I always like to keep a plant growing to remind me of my mother. So all we're going to do is just take this plant out and look at all the little white things that you're seeing. That is actually new growth on the roots. So this is a good, healthy root system. So we have our pot prepared, and we want to just make sure that we use clear glasses. I believe this was a mushroom jar that had mushrooms in it that I put this plant in. So just make sure that when you are starting your plants in water, that you do have a clear container to put those in. And look at the roots on that. It just grew the best roots. So now all that we have to do is put our plants in the pots that I have prepared. One is an indoor plant, one is a tropical, and one is an outdoor plant. So all we're going to do is just put these in the pots. of this and you're going to expose these nodes right here. There's another one we could take off. Then all you need to do is put this in a glass of water, set it in your water windowsill, and I actually use the plastic cups. I think I get them from the Dollar Tree. Now, and I set them in my kitchen window because I can kind of keep an eye on them while I'm washing dishes. And if you see that your water is turning green, then dump your water out and kind of rinse out your cup and rinse off your plants and then put in fresh water. But this is just a super easy way to have more plants, and these will root in no time, and you can bring them out and put them back in your garden. Another way that we can have more flowers in our gardens is to collect seeds on the plants that we have. And I have noticed that this salvia that I purchased, I love the color. And if you will notice some of these pods right there, that is a pod that has gone to seed. And I don't know if I can get down and get it on camera, but if you pull this off, see if we can see it at all. Okay, right there is the seed. See how tiny that is? That tiny little seed is what you're looking for. So what I do, I cut up a paper plate and I get right in there, and if I wasn't holding the camera, I would be able to take my left hand and pull those seeds off or cut them off, just whatever, just a way to get them off. But I want the plate right under it so that I don't lose that seed. It's so tiny. So we can gather seeds like that, and then I just take and put this in a envelope, and I can shake the envelope and the seeds come right out. Another plant in my garden that I really enjoy and I want to save seeds from are the sweet peas. And you can look at this and see this is a seed pod. This is a seed pod that is ready to collect. See the difference in colors? So again, you can take something and put under it because you don't want to lose it. Which this, if it drops, you can just pick it up. But what you'll do is, once you collect these seeds, you will open this pod up, and then that will be your seed. Here are the sweet pea seeds. These are the pods that were opened, and I just took off the end just like you would if it was a regular pea. And then these are your seeds. And I found that I had success with my sweet peas when in the late spring, I soaked these for 2 days and then direct sowed these in my raised beds. That's how I was able to get those to grow. So I've tried that method. It's tried and proven for me, so I'll use it again. Now, as you are collecting seeds, remember last week when I had the watermelon, it wasn't quite ripe, but that doesn't mean that the seeds aren't viable. So I took out my watermelon seeds. Remember, we talked about washing them and taking the flesh off of them, and that's just the stuff that's around the seeds. And then you get clean seeds, put it in your envelope, mark it with the year, and that is how, look at all of those cantaloupe. Look at all those cantaloupe seeds. There's a ton in there. That is just from one cantaloupe. But that is how you grow your garden. You collect your seeds and you can plant them. You can share them with friends. If you're really industrious, you can sell them. There is a good business in selling seeds. So that's another way that you can grow your garden. Now let's talk about 9 flowers and vegetables that we can plant right now that we can still get some bloom time and some fruit from before this summer season is over. Let's take a look at 9 plants that we can grow now. The first one is pumpkins. This bed has been in maybe 3 to 4 weeks. There is a tomato that I also planted, but if you look right around, we also have lettuces. The lettuce is starting to come out, and we can have that well into the fall. Another plant that we can start now are the nasturtiums. That's a good little plant. And also marigolds. I have one tiny plant that came up from all of those seeds. Now you're looking at cosmos that I planted, and also poppies that I put in this bed. And when you're planting seeds and it's hot like this, remember that you need to water. I water morning and early afternoon before it gets dark. I'm usually out around 6 or 7 watering, but it's very important the first 2 to 3 weeks to keep your seedlings wet. What you're looking at now is the last plant that I want to talk about, and that is your zinnia. And I always say that this is the hardest working little flower that you can have in your garden. These have been planted from seed for about a month. And now let's go and look at the daylilies. Remember the cherry shrub that I planted and I had to dig out the daylilies? Every one of these are green and they're showing life. So look at all of these new plants that I was able to get just by taking a little time. You're looking at the Savannah Hollies. I did some weeding and I found those. Everything looks good. I have one that doesn't look all that healthy, but there's some irises back there, and I have plants that I can share with my friends. I can take to the farm. Something as simple as when I trimmed my boxwoods, I actually put these in soil, and they usually root very easily. There's some oregano, but it's very easy to propagate plants and have more plants from what you have in your garden. It just takes a little time, a little effort, and just a little know-how. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope that you've learned. I hope that you're encouraged, and stay cool for the rest of this month because it's going to be a hot one.